Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the age difference between Delboy and Rodney. Sorry, it's been a while. It's been I've been quite busy recently, so I haven't uploaded that much to the channel. But I'm back, and I'm going to be with you until we're going to be all the way up until September. We're going to be dishing out lots of YouTube videos, so for your enjoyment, obviously. We're back. So I'm back, and so I'm going to be talking about the age difference between Delboy and Rodney, because there is a remarkable age difference. It was stated in the first ever episode of Only Fools and Horses that there were 13 years age difference. So that would have made the 13-year age difference would have meant that Delboy would have been born in 1945. So that would have started the age difference, and that also would have meant that Rodney would have been born in 1958. But, as we all know, in the chronology of the TV show, towards the end, in around Series 9, the specials, we finally get the true date of births revealed of the Trott brothers, so that's what I might mention there. That was in Series 1 to Series 3, that was the kind of age difference they had. So let's move swiftly on to the next age difference that occurred in Series... which series was it now? Occurred in Series 5, when Del says... no, not Del. Rodney says it's Del's 46th birthday, so that means we're going to celebrate and all that sort of stuff. Which is a bit strange, because that would have made Rodney about 33. And that doesn't seem to be the case, to be honest, because that would have made Rodney got older. Because now it's suggesting that Delboy would have been born in 1940, which is actually the same year that David Jason was born, so that's a bit interesting there. But that would have made Rodney born in 1953. So, a little bit of an inconsistency there, but I like talking about it, so I think it's quite interesting, because no one ever really picks up on the age difference at all. But, so that's quite interesting in Series 5 compared to the Series 1 and 2 and 3. It was consistency of the age groups were like that. Presumably Series 1, 2 and 3 took place around the same time. But Series 5 takes a bit of a deep dive, suggesting about 10 years have passed from Series 1 to 5, which they hadn't, so a bit strange. But, so I kind of find that quite interesting, because you never really get to see the proper... The differences, the numbers and the ages. Like Rodney specifically, he's got many birthdays, apparently, according to this. So, yeah. And Delboy, he's definitely born in the actual 40s. So yeah, but I don't think these guys were actually born in 1940 and 1953, because that wouldn't make any sense, at all, in the chronology of the show. So that's the funny thing there, really. But so the two that I've mentioned, how would Del be able to be 5 years older? I know it's just mistakes, and I'm probably reading a bit too much into it, but I'm just it's just interesting to do a video, because no one ever really picks up on it. But I find it interesting how the mistakes are made, but they don't really matter, to be honest. But I thought I might do a video on it, because it's just quite interesting, to be honest. No one ever really talks about this at all. But I do find it a bit jarring, the age difference, because in Series 1, 2 and 3 he's born in 1958, and then in Series 5 he's born in 1953 for Rodney, so that's a bit strange, to be honest, because that's quite a leap in age difference, to be honest. But then Del being born in 1945 in Series 1, 2 and 3, and then suddenly being born in 1940 is just a bit out of the ordinary, to be honest. Did Del age 5 years? Well, I mean, we never got to see that, did we? But, age back, was he? I don't know. But that moves me on to the next one that was mentioned quite frequently throughout Series 6. Now, in Series 6, there is a new thing that Delboy and Rodney, they both have specific ages in that time. Because Del keeps on mentioning in Series 6, oh, we've lived in the flat since 1962 and all that sort of stuff. So we're fine with that, you know. Lived in the flat since 1962. But on Rockin' Chips, it seems to suggest that they were moving into the flat in 1960, but never mind. So yeah, I've just got to say something here about the 1962 thing. If Rodney was born in 1962, that made quite a logical sense for most of it, but that would have made Del born in 1949. Now that probably wouldn't have made as much sense, but yeah, so that's quite interesting, to be honest, because they say, oh yeah, you were born in it. They say that to Rodney. Well, you were born in it. We've lived here since 1962. And if you put them together, if you say he was born in it, we moved in it in 1962, that would have meant that Rodney would have been born in 1962. And just doing the maths calculation, it would have equaled the exactly 13 years after. Oh, so 13 years exactly would have made it 1962. So that means in 1989, Rodney would have been 26. Which is what he says in Unlucky Winner. That came quite top of my ranking list. Check that out. Just check that out on my channel. Yeah, thanks. So that's kind of interesting there, that inconsistency happened. But I suppose the writer wasn't really focusing on the age range, the age difference between these two, because some people say 12 years, some people say 13 years, some people say 15 years. Now, Rockin' Chip seems to hint on the 15 years mark, but never mind. But yeah, I do love Rockin' Chips. That is a great TV show. Anyone who hasn't watched it, I should do a review on it actually. Maybe I'll do that next week, or maybe in a couple of days' time. Actually, I'll do it on Monday if you want. So yeah, I think this is a few inconsistencies with the whole TV show, but I think it's all right as its own entity, to be honest. So that thing really kind of annoys me, the age differences and that sort of stuff, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I've said that quite a few times now, but I always find it is kind of cool to find little things that just don't add up, and I always find it's rather enjoyable to spot things that just don't really add up, and that's kind of cool. But let's move on to something that I really feel is the way that we've just got to stick with their date of births now. This is the date of birth that is used for Del and Rodney more than any other. For Del, the date of birth that he should have on his so Del Boy as a character was born apparently, so I'm said by Google, was 1947. Now that does make sense. That does add up remarkably well with Boyce's date of birth, with like Marlene's date of birth, with Denzel Trigger, and like Mike and Slater. It adds up, yeah. So 1947 would have been the year Delboy was born. That means that he was one of the oldest in the C group, because he would have been born on the 17th of December. 17th of December. So it would have made the age difference between like the ages. It would have made Delboy's birthday. It would have been the 7th, the 1947, which would have made him when Rodney was born in 1960. Going off this, would have made him immediately. Rodney would have been born in 1960, which would have been a 13-year age difference, which makes sense for all the other people in Delboy's year at school, because they all would have been born in 1948, whereas he was born in 1947, which would have made him one of the oldest in the year, and that's probably why he was more likeable, to be honest, because the old ones are normally a lot more sensible. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've got to say on that part anyway. But that is what I've kind of been annoying me all the time. But I've got to say, this one was first kind of revealed more in Series 9, so the specials, is when we got Rodney's date of birth properly revealed, so the 2nd of November 1960. So that would have made it immediately more correct. So 1960 is a good year if you think about all the stuff on here. So I've got to show my piece of paper. So if you think about all the ages we got the numbers on. Yeah, I think I've shown that backwards. Alright, but basically it's got all of the, so it's got 1940, and then obviously 1953, and then 1945, 1958, and then obviously 1947, and then 1960, and then 1949, and then 1962. So that's quite interesting. But I have come to a conclusion on what I would like to say is officially Only Fools and Horses canon, because a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense or add up. So I would like to say that the true age difference between Del Boy and Rodney is 13 years. 13 years, but if I was to tweak the canon, I would say that they would have had to have moved in to the flat in 1960. Just going off this, because this actually is more canon-based, because it was written by, obviously, John Sullivan, who's a legend. R.I.P. John Sullivan, you were an amazing writer, and I love your writing. You were amazing. So that's kind of what I have to say there. But it is very interesting how these inconsistencies popped up, and the real difference between them in age. Because some people say 15 years, which would have made it more likely for it to have been 1945, that people have suggested by this. But let's just pretend he was 13 in that, even though he looks way older. Let's just pretend, because that's TV. So yeah, so that's kind of what I will have to say there, really. And something else I just may quickly add is in this Frog's Legacy, which I really love this story. I should do a review on it. Remind me to do a review on it. But in A Frog's Legacy, now there was a certain thing that pops up. So you must know that Rodney's father is this bloke here, Freddie Robdell. So Freddie Robdell must have been, apparently he first met Joan, maybe his trotter, Dell's mother, in 1959. So that completely blows out of the water the first two dates, which were for Rodney, 1953 and 1958. So them two are blown out the water now, because that wouldn't make any sense. The only two logical ones would be 1960 or 1962. But with my heart of hearts, I have to go with 1960, because it adds up more with the show, and 1947 actually makes more sense logically. Think about all the characters' age if you take that into account. So I've got to trust this. So if this has made in a remark saying that the Dell's mum met Rodney's father in 1959, it would have had to have been then, when Rodney was obviously born in 1960. That would have had to have been right, going on both of these logical explanations. It would have had to be these two. So that's kind of what I've got to say on that part. So there's my final conclusion, really. I've managed to solve the age difference between Del and Rodney. It is 13 years, so that'll be 1947 to 1960. So those are the two that were officially done by the TV show, although they sometimes are suggested in, I believe it is in, I know it is suggested in Sleepers and Peckham that Del was 15 years older than him, but I think that was wrong, so let's just forget about that. And yeah, I've just got to say, this thing here, if you just cut out that segment, I think you've got it perfectly fine. You've nailed it down to a T. It's just going to be great. And also, something else I must add here is that when Del's dad runs off in in 1965, and it says Rodney would have only have been about 5. That makes a lot of sense, because then that's the only that's only about 3 instances where it has been 1960. So from my conclusion, I have drawn all of the pieces of evidence together to suggest that Rodney was born in 1960 and Del Boy was born in 1947. So, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and see you again for another video where we'll be talking about either more Only Fools and Horses content, more Doctor Who related stuff, or anything else you really want to get me interested in. Why don't you suggest anything in the comment section down below if you want me to review next? Anything that's either a comedy or a sci-fi or murder mystery, because I haven't done very many of those. But I am thinking about doing some reviews of Death in Paradise on the channel, because, you know, my last one really blew up so fast with views, so I'm really happy for that. But I really am excited that I'm back on the YouTube channel, because I've been away for a bit. I haven't had as much videos done recently, so I hope you all enjoyed the video, obviously. It's great to be back, and I can't wait to do more videos again. So, I'll see you in another video whenever. Goodbye.